My name is Newton Spice, a guitarist in Nigeria, and I want to say keep watching Get Yourself Alive.
Get Yourself Alive.
Hello guys, I'm Apollo Snowball and I'm a mass communicator. Come on, keep watching Get Yourself Alive.
Get Yourself Alive.
Get Yourself Alive.
Get Yourself Alive.
Get excited, jump about, be fun, be happy, and get yourself alive.
I am Dr. Ekelba Matthew Isikhuemen, current acting head of department for resources and wildlife management. I'm a forester, I'm an ecologist and a conservator. What these terms may be strange to you, but the reality is that I've been a forester for almost 40 years, and the passion I got from my youth when I was a little boy, I just developed interest in the word forest. Essentially, I grew up and landed in forestry profession. Well, I have been in forestry since 1979. After my West Africa School Certificate exam, I passed and then joined Edo State Forest Service. All my degrees that I have, up to 5 degrees, including PhD, were obtained while in service. In 2010, after I got my PhD in 2005, in 2010, I felt that I was no longer relevant in where I was working and decided to move to the Ivory Tour. When I came, I had already raised over 6,000 seedlings of indigenous species in the Ministry of Environment and Public Utilities. When I came in 2011, what I did was to meet my HOD, Dr. C.P. Kalu, now Professor Kalu. I told him, oh, I had seedlings I raised in the ministry, indigenous species seedlings. Can you just give me a letter for 2,000 seedlings of the species? He obliged and said, consider it as done. I took the letter the following day. I went to the ministry, met the Commissioner for Environment. He was shocked to see me. He came, he told me, oh, why are you coming back here? You've left us some few months ago. What do you want? I said, sir, I needed just 2,000 seedlings. He told me again, consider it done. He gave me 2,000 seedlings. That is the genesis of what we have today. All the trees you see today around here were planted from 2011 to date. So that is the beauty of nature. And that is where I have my passion. In fact, it's not only passion. I developed this passion from a little boy, and till I die, I will continue to, protect, preserve, conserve, and of course, restore forest ecosystem. This year's theme is ecosystem restoration, and it coincides with UN plan for restoration, for a decade restoration program for the world. That is the global restoration program. And again, it coincides with our 10-year anniversary of planting trees within Uniben and outside Uniben. So that is, in fact, the joy that we have today that we celebrated the World Environment Day and 10 years anniversary of tree planting in Uniben and outside Uniben. The issue of planting trees comes from the mind, from the inner mind. My own case, I'm not looking at the cost. If I tell you the nursery that you see today, that is over 50,000 seedlings of indigenous species, and in fact exotic species, originated from my pocket and some from friends. I didn't look at, oh yeah, we don't have the funds, we don't have the resources. I just took it upon myself and said, we must do this. In fact, last 2 years I started planting a forest in my village. Incidentally, I come from Edo Central, and I planted last year 4,000 seedlings of indigenous species. I paid for the transportation, I paid for the jobs, I paid for the labor and everything, but unfortunately this year, January, the whole place got burnt. But I can assure you, the next 1-2 weeks, today is 8 or so, the next 1-2 weeks I'm mobilizing another 3,000 species of indigenous species to my site. Well, the beauty of it is, for me, I want to raise the forest and see the forest grow. It is most time people ask me, oh, why are you raising the forest? When are you going to harvest it? That is the problem with humanity. Our problem is that anything we do, we must tie it to funds, tie it to resources, tie it to money. But my interest is not money. I want to see these trees come out, feel the aesthetics that these trees provide, and when I die, I think I will go happily. Let me give you a story. I was in South Korea 2010. I was shocked that one single man planted 50 million trees in South Korea. But my shock was that when he was about dying, he sold that 50 million trees to the government. If that thing can happen in South Korea, remember this lady from Kenya, was an Wangari somebody. She planted over almost the same thing. She's a professor, but she's not a forester. If somebody that's not a forester can venture into, environmental issues, then you begin to wonder, what of those guys that are there? What are they doing? What legacy do they have that they will leave behind for generations to come? It's not about leaving legacy for your children, for those people that care. In fact, this is the first time I'm meeting them. The other time, 2014 or 13, I went with Era to Ekiti. The governor hosted us, and what I saw was quite beautiful. But I remember one particular thing that happened that day, one notable event. When I told one of the lawyers who presented a paper that Nigeria doesn't have forest law, he told me it was a lie. I told him, don't worry, I will get back to you tomorrow. I went and got documents for him. So when I came, he disappeared. So those are the things you see, that a country like Nigeria does not have forest law. It is not that Nigeria is not desirous of having forest law, but our constitution does not allow, the way it is now, is not allowing the national government to have its forest. Because the forests in Nigeria are the preserve of state government, not federal government. The federal government just come to tell you, oh, we own the land because of oil and mineral resources, but the forest in reality belongs to the state government. If a state government owns the forest, you have what they call the exclusive list and all of that. Then you begin to wonder what happens when that which is not your own, you try to perhaps take it by force from. So it won't work. Until we revisit our constitution, forget about the federal government having a national forest law and having its own forest. Animals, if you want to they call it taxidermy. What you do, you remove the entries, the inner part, and then stuff cotton wool. But to preserve the carcass outside, you have specialized chemicals, just like the chemicals sometimes they use in preserving human dead bodies. So that is what they use. You have there are some chemicals, little chemicals that are used for that, for preservation. But again, if you preserve and you not keep those animals in good condition, in favorable condition, they begin to degrade. It depends on what you want, but those of us that are inside, I've told you I've spent over 40 years as a forester. We know the species to plant for you to get returns in 10 years, in 20 years. But what you find is that people, because the forest business has longer lifespan, their fear is that whatever investment they make in forest or in forestry, they are not likely to recoup that investment in 10 years. That is why you find that the agricultural sector and some other sectors are preferred to forestry sector.